there's one thing in particular that I think almost everybody has mixed up. Rather than being the person who's looking for connections and asking other people for connections, why don't you become the person who people go to for those connections? You see, Austin, I think this is something that people struggle with because they don't see which one is more advantageous and which one brings the most benefits. Could you enlighten us on what that process looks like and what it truly means?
All right. So I want you to think for a second, right? And pardon me, I'm dying from a sickness. But think about your phone. Think about your shoes. Think about your socks. Think about your laptop. Think about your internet. Think about where you stay, schooling, all of that, right? Security system for your house or wherever you stay, right? All these are products and or services that are being provided to you. We don't realize how much we consume as a people every single day. The products that we use, the services that we use every single day. And when you think about it, that's a lot of money that you are contributing, donating, or giving to these services. Why? Because they make your life easier. And people like to invest into things and put money into things that makes their life easier because life is difficult, right? And there's certain things that though Jose and I like to do things the hard way and the difficult ways, there are things that we would pay for because it's more suitable or it's more convenient that we have someone else do something for us as opposed to it being done by us. Saves us time, money in the long run, the whole nine. And you all do the same thing, even if it's not in the confines of a business, right? So all these services that you're paying for because it makes your life easier. What if instead of paying someone else to make your life easier, people did that for you? People came to you and said, hey, shit, I need a fucking lawyer. Oh, I know a guy. Oh, shit, I need a fucking plumber. Oh, I know a guy. Damn, I need a mechanic. Oh, I know a guy. And we've talked about this previously in the past slightly, but if you're the person that people can go to be that connector, you're always going to have a job. You're always going to have opportunities passed by you because people know that you know how to connect person over here with person over here. And if you can find a way to get your cut based off of that fucking transaction, you're making money. And all you did was refer this person to that person. And that's what people don't realize. People think, oh, I have to have a product or, oh, I have to have this big fucking service. People make money just by simply connecting people. Just that's fucking simple. Just because, just saying us, we have a vast network. A vast network. If you wanted to know somebody that was a senior vice president at this company, at a Fortune 500 company, we know multiple. If you want someone who could get you in touch with a professional sports league, potentially, we know a guy. And if that person is willing to pay that person a simple transaction that could go down, that wouldn't have happened or wouldn't have happened as easily if you weren't there. So you, in my opinion, deserve a piece of the transaction. Some change should be allocated your way. And that, to me, is always going to be around because there's certain people that you may not be able to meet ever without someone introducing you to them. Or it might take you years and years in the process for you to meet them. So having someone like that is fucking invaluable. Like, you have to have someone like that that can connect you with that person and that person with that person. And if you have that in your network, or if you could be that for someone else's network, you're always going to be someone that people look to.
You've often heard us say that your network is your net worth. And if you want your net worth to be high, then so does your network. In order to achieve great things in an expedited manner, you need to have people in your network who can connect you or who are your connections to help you do things that are impeding your actions. Oftentimes, your barrier to almost anything is something that's so simple for somebody else because they've either resolved it or they know somebody who can. Why would you not see the value in being somebody who is a point of contact for everybody so that they can get their problems resolved? One of the most repeated pieces of advice for beginning a business is providing a service. And providing a service is something that resolves or solves a problem. Well, is not being somebody who connects other people solving a big problem where people don't know how to network with where people can't access certain things and certain people in certain groups because either A, they're not social enough, B, they don't get the type of exposure they need, or C, they're just not at that level that they need to be at to regularly network or connect with these people. It should be evident that if you become the intermediary that connects people directly to people who have solutions or potential solutions for them, is clear value. It should be evident. And if you can't see that, I would recommend that you try to succeed at any endeavor, whether it be business or growing in your career, in your 9 to 5, without networking and connecting yourself with other people and without making your name known. You're going to realize that there's a lot more impediments to your actions that you were not aware of before, and you're going to start realizing a common thought, and that's going to be, why is this so difficult? Why can't I find a solution? This shouldn't be so hard. And a lot of times the solution is you just need to talk to somebody because a lot of people have been through the same thing. So why are you going to try to reinvent the wheel? There's been many situations where we've had a poor understanding of perhaps some legal requirements, or we've had issues registering for certain services, or some process is going to take too long. And we're very fortunate, and we've also worked for it to the point where a text message, a phone call, one trip to a country club can resolve some of the problems that have been just consuming our time and bandwidth like that instantaneously. And that's the power of proper connections.
And you know what I also think is very true? You can correct me if you believe I'm wrong here, but I personally believe the more that you connect people or you're known for that, the more people will remember you. In my opinion, business dealings are more often than not done by people that know each other. If I know Jose does something, a service that I may need, I'm going to confide in him before I confide in anyone else, no matter the fucking rates. Why? Because I know him. I don't know these other people. They might have better rates from what it looks like, but I know him. So I'm going to confide in him first to see if this is something that we can work out between the two of us. So if you're constantly connecting people, right, that basically builds another storage unit in someone's mind for you. So when things happen, when someone's in need of a service, when someone's in need of something or a person that they need to talk to and they don't know who to fucking go to, you're the first person that they fucking think about in their fucking mind, whether consciously or unconsciously, right? So when that happens, because you're constantly doing something for people, you're helping people here and there, you're connecting people here and there, you're going to be that first person that they're going to think about. And you'll be surprised how often new business dealings or certain opportunities get passed your way because people remember you. People aren't going to remember you if you're that guy that was just at that place that one time that didn't say anything, or that didn't speak up when someone said, hey, I have a problem. Do you know anybody that can help? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that if someone said that, they probably knew someone that could help, but they're probably like, oh, I don't want to share my connections with them. I'm gonna hog my connections. I'm gonna keep them to myself, right? But here's the thing. Say you spoke up and you said something and you help that person. And that person gets what the fuck they need to get done. And you check in and say, hey, how's the relationship or everything going with you and this person that I recommended to you? Is everything going all right? They're like, yeah, man, everything's going great. Thank you for recommending me. I'm recommending them. They remember you, and they remember you for being someone who is doing good deeds. So now you get to have access to a whole another tree of opportunities that people don't get to have access to because you spoke up and you helped. So if you're a person that knows certain people and people are looking for certain connections, help. Whether it works out or it doesn't, they know that they can confide in you and go to you for these certain things. And that's happened for me a lot, actually, as of late, with people with certain jobs, and people have been reaching out to me, even though I haven't been able to help them as much because the job market right now is fucking. But the fact that people can go to me and say, hey, I need help with XYZ, allows them to think of me when something in the future happens because they know that I was a person that was willing to help them. So if you are willing to help certain people, you're always going to be that first person on their mind, or one of the first people on their mind, when they're trying to do something else or thinking about doing something else, and they want trusted people, trustworthy people to get into business with. And business is also a big, you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of thing. So if you're always willing to scratch other people's backs, not saying that it's always going to come back to you fucking tenfold, but the more you do it, the more opportunities it opens up for you to potentially get into business with some of these people that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So always be more altruistic. And when I say that, that's an unselfish concern for the welfare of others. So always be relatively altruistic and show some, unselfishness, when it comes to business and your dealings, because things can come back to benefit you if you're willing to connect the dots from the get-go, as opposed to kind of hoarding and hogging all the connections that you have.
I have something that's sort of a branch off of what you said about you scratch my back and I scratch yours. And that's that the more you give, the more you will receive. And we're in a society where we just want to receive and receive and receive, and we don't see the value in giving. And I think that perspective fails to take into account the fact that you need to give before you receive. There's reciprocity in this world. And although it's very true that the ratio between giving and receiving is low, and I know that it's difficult to deal with that notion. I know it feels bad when all you do is give, and you don't feel like you're receiving. I understand that because it happens and it's very common. But if you think that giving less means that you will receive more, that's a logic fail. If you're thinking I have to give 8 times and I only receive 2, but I need to receive more, well, then you just give more and you'll increase the amount that you receive proportionally. It's like Alex Hormozy says. He says, if I'm putting in 5 hours of work on this a week and it's not working, well, why don't I try putting in 500 hours of work and see if it works? It's true. Sometimes the only solution to a problem is just more. If you're not succeeding, you need to do more. If you're not succeeding, you need to try more things. A lot of times you have to reset your expectations. When you think you're hitting a wall, you need to push it more, because in reality, a lot of your limitations are mental. And if you're thinking, man, I've helped so many people and I've gotten nothing in return, just wait. Just wait, because as Austin mentioned, when you ask them, oh, how did this go? That connection that you made with so-and-so through my introduction, did it play through? Yes, it did actually. Is there any way I could help you, Austin? Why, yes, there is. Could you connect me with so and so? And as you mentioned, when people begin to know you as a person who can help them and connect them, they will begin coming to you. And let's be clear here. If you're fishing and you can find a way to attract the fish to you without using any bait, isn't that advantageous? Because now you don't even have to cast your line. You don't even have to wait. You just drop that hook in there and somebody's going to bite and you're going to eat. And when you eat, everybody eats. Why? Because you're a giver.
And thinking of the people who are a little bit stingy, right? I know people have probably heard this before, but you can't save your way to being rich. You could probably, if you have like a decent job, you could save. And when you're fucking 70, you could have like a couple million. But you don't realize how often that could fucking get drained the fuck up with not the same amount of income that you had previously, right? And in my opinion, you can't become ridiculously affluent without being or with being stingy. You can't. So if you're thinking about trying to be better, have more, do more, that stingy mindset, that I have to keep all my chips to myself mindset can only get you so far. You're riding down the highway with a fucking half a tank of gas. You're not going to be able to get as far with that half a tank of gas. However, if you're willing to get with multiple people, you know, they pitch in some gas money here and there, and you can be able to make multiple stops and you can be able to travel a lot farther than you would have if you were just relying on yourself and your little half a tank of gas. So you really are able to do that first off by establishing some level of trust, where you could do that by what we're telling you to do, which is be someone who can connect the dots. And if you can connect the dots for people, that opens up a option that wasn't there before, where someone can say, hey, I have all this shit going on. Now I trust you because you're willing to do this for me. Now it's time for me to do something for you. And this is something that we've encountered a lot, where because we've established some level of trust and rapport with people, one of the main things that they ask us initially even is, how can I help? It's funny because a lot of us, especially coming from certain neighborhoods, certain demographics and whatnot, we like to keep all our chips to ourselves. We like to hog and hoard everything. But when you get surrounded by these big money-making people, right, they're always, at least seemingly to us, they're always willing to help. Why? Why is that? Because they realize that you can go a lot farther together as opposed to apart and being individuals. And the people that have just large sums of money love to partner with people. They love to connect the dots. They love to share their connections because they know that indirectly it will make them money. So, of course, there are some people that like take advantage of shit like that and don't share the wealth. But I think you'd be very surprised how many people are out there that do share the wealth and do remember the good things that you do and will always try to lift you up with them because you looked out, because you connected the dots, because you did XYZ for them. So,
and I will close out here, at least on my end, with the Jose quote.
Gotcha.
Imagine helping other people build their futures while you build your future. And when you meet again in the future, you work together to build a better future. A lot of people think short term, and you hit the nail on the head. A lot of people will not want to share network with people and methods to be prosperous because they see other people as competition. What you need to see is that these other people are not your opposition. They are your supporting members. If you help somebody upgrade, imagine having the upgraded version of them turn around and help you. You're assembling and building your own masterpiece of an army of highly networked, highly successful, and ruthlessly ambitious people, so that when you need them, at the drop of a hat, they're there, and vice versa. Why wouldn't you want the best people around you who have a similar thought process, a similar mindset, and you've already vetted them through your network, and they've passed the test that you gave them? I don't see a single downside. And as Austin said, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If they don't strike the deals and appease the people that you network them with, you don't lose anything. You lose absolutely nothing, and you have everything to gain. And if you're afraid that they're going to become really good competition, well, then step up your game. Make it so that however good they become and whatever advantage they gain, that advantage doesn't put you out of business, because you're just so good at what you do that they cannot even touch you. If you're afraid that helping somebody is going to put you at a disadvantage, then in my opinion, you suck at what you do. Because you might, Robert Kiyosaki, when a journalist read his book and she was interviewing him, she said, "Your book is horrible." And he said, "Yeah, but what does it say on the cover? New York Times bestseller. I'm not a writer. I'm a businessman. I'm a salesman. That's why my book is a New York Times bestseller. I didn't win a prize on how good the writing was. I won a prize for how many copies I sold." Any business that you're in the business of sales. You're moving money. Doesn't matter how you're doing it, but you are in sales. Most likely, somewhere along the line, if somebody beats you, it's because you have a deficiency in either your product or your sales. And that, bless you, is entirely on you. And if you think that not connecting somebody is going to help you, I'm going to be honest, your business is not going to last long, no matter how good it is in the beginning.
And think about it like a tree, right? You see all these trees in the background. You think they would be able to stand the test of time and the weather and all the cataclysmic stuff that would be going on in the world without deep, spiraling roots? No. The vast amount of roots that they have allows them to continue to stand no matter the weather. Same thing goes with you, your network, and your connections. The more you build your network, the more you build your connections, the more you connect people with each other, the more roots that you're laying down, not only for your business's foundation, but for your foundation. And when things happen, when negative things happen, which they will always happen, you're able to withstand the test of time and withstand the negative things that transpire. And that is the importance of connecting the dots and establishing that network. Because if you establish that network, you're able to withstand the world's negatives that happen. So, on that note, my brother,
The AM Club Podcast.
Signing out.
Mic check. The AM Club Podcast.